Pastor Josh here. We're reading Acts chapter 13, verses 13 through 15, and we don't need to leave someone hanging. Have you ever been left out to dry? You were depending on someone and they just didn't come through for you. Oh, it can be so discouraging. It can put you back quite a bit. And what is sad is that I know I've done it. I know you've done it. You've left people hanging before. You've left them out to dry and you've put them in a tough spot. And the encouragement I have for us today is that we don't need to leave people hanging, particularly in the ministry, particularly at church. You know, I know we have 3 pastors, we have 1 wonderful children's director, and we have a great office staff, and we have great folks serving our church. But you know what? Just us alone, we can't make it happen. We need every single volunteer that serves. In fact, we need even more. And so what can be difficult is when we leave each other hanging. And that is what has happened, or that's what's going to happen to Paul and Barnabas. They're going to be left hanging by John Mark. So let's look at what has happened, what will happen in this missionary journey. So Paul and Barnabas are at Antioch in Pisidia. The reason we're distinguishing the Antioch is because this is a different Antioch than their home church. Antioch would have been a common name for cities. And so they are still on their first missionary journey. Now, Paul and his companions set sail from Paphos and came to Perga in Pamphylia. So they have left the island of Cyprus and they have now come to the mainland. And here's what we're told. And John left them and returned to Jerusalem. Here's the sin to avoid. We don't want to leave people hanging, particularly in the ministry, particularly when we're serving in the church. But of course, you don't want to leave people hanging in your regular professional life. But oftentimes, we feel a stronger impulse because compensation is involved or whatnot to make sure that we don't leave people hanging. But we got to make sure, even in our volunteer positions, that we don't leave people hanging. So this would be a sin to avoid. If you do have to be out or have to miss, make sure that you make provisions for that. Try to do things as far ahead of time as possible. But we see John Mark left Paul and Barnabas, and he returned to Jerusalem. And this is going to end up being an issue for the Apostle Paul a little later. We'll come back to it. This is going to cause even a big argument between Barnabas and Paul. But John left them, but they went on from Perga and came to Antioch in Pisidia. And on the Sabbath day, they went into the synagogue and sat down. And after reading the law and the prophets, the rulers of the synagogue sent a message to them saying, "Brothers, if you have any word of encouragement for the people, say it." Now that was, I did mention, a sin to avoid. Don't leave people hanging. But here is an attitude that you can adopt and you can change, is that you always need to be looking for an opportunity to share the gospel. Always look for an opportunity to invite somebody to church. Always look for an opportunity to talk about Jesus, because this right here is the opportunity that God is giving Paul and Barnabas for them to share the gospel. And you better believe that they're going to take advantage of this opportunity, and they are going to do it. So always be on the lookout for an opportunity for you to invite someone to church, for you to tell people about Jesus, for you to perhaps even sit down and share the gospel. I pray that has been a blessing to you, and I hope that you'll use it as an encouragement to avoid the sin of leaving people hanging. May God bless you, and I'll see you all in the next video.